So today's class is the continuation class of the same topic which we started yesterday, and that is antiretroviral agents and treatment of HIV infection. So we yesterday in the class we saw how there is infection through the virus, the life cycle of the HIV we saw, then what are the classification of drugs which are used against this HIV infection. Then we also saw the individual drug, especially the group-wise drug like non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitor, nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitor, nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. And then from there onwards, I'll be taking the journey from protease inhibitor onwards. Before I start the class, I should give a flashback of specifically the life cycle of HIV. And this was so. So we have a virion which is capable of infecting a cell. As we know that these are the obligatory parasite which is dependent upon the host cell. So this infect by attaching through the GP41 protein, which is available on this membrane envelope, and this attaches with the CD4 or chemokine receptors. They are the substrate. It gets inside, and then there is this is known as attachment and fusion, and then there is penetration and uncoating of this, and then there is release of the genomic RNA. After this happens, there is a conversion of this virion genomic RNA to double-stranded unintegrated DNA through reverse transcriptase enzyme, and the step is known as reverse transcription. Then there is formation, upon formation of this double-stranded unintegrated DNA, there is integration of this DNA strand into the nucleus of the human cells, the host cells or the host chromosome. This is the integration. So now this process is known as integration, and it is taken out by the enzyme integrase. Later on, there is formation of viral mRNA, then regulatory proteins are formed, structural proteins are formed, and then vRNA is separately formed. Ultimately, there is assembly of all these, and then there is budding and release of a newer, mature HIV variant. So there are the drugs which act upon the various steps of the various enzymes and then inhibit the replication process, and thus decreases the infection. And that can happen through different drugs which we are looking upon. So we have finished many drugs, and then we would be going to jumping to the protease inhibitor. So this is the protease inhibitor, HIV protease inhibitor, and it's a peptide-like chemical that competitively inhibit the virus aspartate protease. So there is a protease enzyme in the virus. So the aspartate protease of the virus is inhibited by this HIV protease inhibitor. Now the protease is a homodimer. If you see the structure of the protease, this is a homodimer. This means it contains a monomer which contains 99 amino acid. So there will be two monomer of 99 amino acid. So similar in nature, that's why they are called homodimer. Now each monomer contributes an aspartic acid residue that is essential for catalysis. So one monomer will contribute an aspartic acid, another also contribute another aspartic acid, and this aspartic acid is essential for the catalytic activity. Now cleavage site for this enzyme is N-terminal side of proline residue. We'll see in the figure. Proline residue, especially between phenylalanine and proline. Now, how it differs, how the human aspartyl protease differs from the viral aspartyl protease. Human aspartyl protease contains only one polypeptide. Here we saw there is a homodimer containing two 99 amino acid monomer. But here there is only one polypeptide chain. and that's why they are not inhibited by the protease inhibitors, the HIV protease inhibitors, and that's why the host cell are not susceptible for the inhibition through this drug. The clearance is specifically through hepatic oxidative metabolism, and all except nelfinavir, they are metabolized predominantly by cytochrome P3A4. All the drugs which comes under this group, except the drug nelfinavir, they are this is not metabolized by CYP3A4. Otherwise, all are metabolized. This is what I was talking about. The cleavage site for the enzyme is N-terminal of proline residue, N-terminal of proline residue, and this specifically happens when you see the structure. This specifically happens in between the structure of phenylalanine and proline. Now, a very interesting topic is the boosting PIs with a cytochrome P inhibitors. Now, there is a drug which can inhibit the cytochrome P453A4 enzyme. Specifically, this enzyme is responsible for metabolizing the protease inhibitor. So, if this enzyme can be inhibited, that means we can have the more concentration present in the body for action. This is known as boosting of the activity of protease inhibitor by what? By giving a drug along with protease inhibitor which can inhibit the metabolizing enzyme CYP3A4, and the drug's name is cobicistat. So remember that, cobicistat. Earlier also we saw about ritonavir. This is like something different than ritonavir in many aspects. This cobicistat does not have antiretroviral activity, whereas ritonavir has antiretroviral activity and inhibits the CYP3A4. This drug, cobicistat, is a potent and selective inhibitor of CYP3A4, but it is better tolerated than ritonavir and is not a CYP enzyme inducer. If you remember regarding ritonavir, we saw ritonavir is a potent inhibitor, as well as it is having antiretroviral activity, and partially it is an enzyme inducer also, and not very well tolerated. So these are the disadvantages of the ritonavir when we compare this drug with the cobicistat. Whereas cobicistat is potent and selective inhibitor, and it is better tolerated, the side effect profile is lesser, and it is not an enzyme inducer. So dose of ritonavir of 100 to 200 milligram once or twice daily can be given, whereas cobicistat 150 milligram daily is sufficient to inhibit the CYP3A4 enzyme. So what is the benefit of this? This allows a reduction in both drug dose. So when you give an enzyme inhibitor, you need to, because the concentration of the drug would be more, so you need to reduce the dose. You can reduce the dose, and the frequency can also be reduced. So compliance would be better with this drug. The drug like atazanavir, darunavir, fosartanib, lopinavir are generally given or combined with ritonavir. Whereas atazanavir and darunavir, these two drugs are combined with cobicistat for once daily regimen. Now, what are the other shared properties of PIs? Which means that what are the other common properties which is applicable for all the PIs? Most HIV PIs are substrate for the P-glycoprotein efflux pump. If you remember the initial class of chemotherapy where we discussed what are the resistance pathway in that, you must have gone through the efflux pump. So in the viruses and bacteria and the microorganisms, they have the efflux pump through which they efflux out the drug. So HIV proteins these are the substrate which can be easily efflux out from the virus. These generally penetrate less well into the semen than NRTI and NNRTI. So in comparison to these two group of drugs, these will not penetrate as easily as they do to the semen. HIV protease inhibitor have high inter-individual serum concentration variability that may affect differential activity of intestinal and hepatic CYPs. So, the inter-individual activity or serum concentration of these drugs, PIs, are diverse in nature, and this is completely different from one individual to another. This shows that the intestinal and hepatic and differential activity of the people. The speed with which HIV develop resistance to unboosted PIs is intermediate between that of nucleoside analog and NNRTI. Again, there is a comparison of PIs if not given with boosting drugs like cobicistat. So, if it is not given with cobicistat, then the speed of resistance with which it occurs with protease inhibitor, that lies in between the speed with which it occurs to nucleoside analog and NNRTIs. What are the side effect profile? It includes nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. They are the common adverse effects with the older HIVs, but these are very less marked in case of the newer drugs like atazanavir and darunavir. The drug under this group is saquinavir. It's a peptidomimetic hydroxyethylamine and effective against HIV-1 and HIV-2. So there is a hard gelatin, it's in the form of hard gelatin capsule, and then pharmacokinetic is oral bioavailability is low. That happens because of the first pass metabolism. So when the oral bioavailability is low, that means lesser fraction of drug would be available for the site of infection. So you need to increase it, and that's why this drug is usually given in combination of ritonavir. It will have the antiviral activity as well as it will potentiate the activity of this drug. Substance that inhibit the intestinal but not hepatic CYP3A4 can increase saquinavir area under the curve by about 3-4. So the drugs like grapefruit, fruit juice, and all that inhibits, which will inhibit the CYP3A4, will ultimately cause the increase in the concentration of the drug. That is what it is saying here. Now the adverse effect is nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal discomfort. For short term, whereas long term administration of this drug will cause the lipodystrophy. Sorry. Then we have drug interactions of saquinavir. So the clearance of saquinavir is increased with the induction of this enzyme. If we are giving the drug which induces this enzyme, that means the clearance of this drug will be increased. Co-administration of inducer of CYP3A4 such as rifampin, phenytoin, or carbamazepine, it lowers saquinavir concentration. The effect of nevirapine and efavirenz on saquinavir may be reversed with ritonavir. Then we have the ritonavir drug itself. It's again a peptidomimetic HIV protease inhibitor. It is also active against HIV-1 infection and HIV-2 infection. Mostly used as a pharmacokinetic enhancer by inhibiting this enzyme so that the concentration and activity of the drug increases. Adverse effect is gastrointestinal related adverse effect and include dose-dependent nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, anorexia, abdominal pain, and taste perversion. And so the solution for this is she can be avoided given with meal. Perioral paresthesias can be seen here, and the therapeutic dose if given at 600 mg twice daily. Increased serum total cholesterol and triglyceride, and there may be a lipodystrophy with this group of drugs. So here we can see, if we again compare it with cobicistat, the side effect profile is much more than the cobicistat. It's the most potent known inhibitor of CYP3A4 having antiretroviral activity, and it's a weak inhibitor of CYP2D6. So inhibition of this and inhibition of this also, but there is a weak inhibition of this enzyme. Caution in combination with any CYP3A4 substrate. There should not be given with this drug, especially on drug having narrow therapeutic index. So what happens if you give the drug having narrow therapeutic index like midazolam, triazolam, fentanyl and ergot? If the enzyme is inhibited by this drug, that means the concentration of this drug increases, and since there is a narrow therapeutic index, there is every possibility that the concentration goes more than the safe range of the drug, and that adverse effect, lethal or fatal adverse effect, may appear. Capsule and solution formulations are present of ritonavir and they contain alcohol, and that is the reason why we should not give this drug if the person is already taking disulfiram or metronidazole. So again, if you can relate the disulfiram like reaction and what happens when metronidazole is combined with the alcohol. So same type of drug interaction appears here also. There is also a moderate inducer of CYP3A4. This I told earlier only, right? So this is an inhibitor also, and this is a mild or moderate inducer also. And induction of gluconosyl S-transferase. This causes a decreased concentration of ethanyl estradiol. So when it induces this enzyme, this may cause decreased concentration of ethanyl estradiol. Because of lesser concentration, there may be chance of pregnancy if the person is on this. So alternate conception method should be taken if the person is taking this drug or being prescribed this drug. Supported inducer of CYP3 activity such as rifampicin may lower ritonavir concentration and should be avoided or the dosage is adjusted. If rifampicin is given, that supported inducer of CYP3, that will cause inhibition of the concentration of ritonavir. Now this drug will cause the decreased concentration of ritonavir. In that, dose adjustment is very much necessary. Otherwise, there is no point of giving ritonavir. Next is fosartanib. This is a prodrug of amprenavir and given along with ritonavir. So 700 mg BD with 100 mg BD of ritonavir. This drug should be avoided in severe hepatic insufficiency, and antacid decreases absorption. Now, nelfinavir. It is probably the most commonly used protease inhibitor because of its low incidence of serious adverse effect. Okay, correct. Okay. So this is the most commonly used drug for the treatment. Because of the side effect profile is lesser. Adult dose is 750 mg orally twice a day. Only PI, it is the only PI that cannot be boosted by ritonavir because it is not extensively metabolized by CYP3A4. Now understand this, ritonavir inhibits the enzyme CYP3A4, and that is the whole sole reason of boosting the activity of another drug if combined with ritonavir. Now, nelfinavir is the protease inhibitor that is not metabolized by CYP3A4 extensively, and that is the reason why ritonavir has no use if you want to combine this drug with ritonavir. Adverse effects, diarrhea and flatulence may appear. This may resolve with continued use, so tolerance developed after few weeks. Next is indinavir. Indinavir, the recommended adult dose is 800 mg orally 3 times daily. Adverse effects like nephrolithiasis, urolithiasis, adrenal insufficiency, alopecia, paranoia, nausea, anemia, hyperbilirubinemia may appear. Lopinavir can be combined with ritonavir and that can be given. This is the only PI FDC fixed dose combination used for the treatment of HIV-1 and HIV-2 infection, and this is available in the dose ratio of 4:1. Lopinavir plus ritonavir 100 mg BD and is given twice daily with food. Atazanavir, this is active against HIV-1 and HIV-2 and its absorption is acid dependent. Adult dose is 400 milligram orally once daily. Adverse effect like nausea, diarrhea, reversible hyperbilirubinemia, hyperglycemia, and hypercholesterolemia may appear. This is the only PI with no effect on a lipid profile. Now, tipranavir and darunavir. These are the new PIs approved for the treatment of patients with HIV resistant mutant. So in case of resistant mutant, these drugs can be given and they are very much effective. When tipranavir is given, it should be given 500 milligram twice daily with ritonavir 200 milligram twice daily orally. Wherever if darunavir is given, then it should be given at the dose of 600 milligram twice daily along with ritonavir 100 milligram twice daily orally. Being sulfonamide derivative, they may also show sensitivity reaction. So it's a sulfonamide derivative, and because it's a sulfonamide derivative, they may show the cross sensitivity reaction if the person is showing the sensitivity reaction towards sulfonamide also. So the hepatotoxicity is the major adverse effect in this case. Now coming to the protease inhibitor, the pharmacokinetic parameter. See, I always keep on saying that the usual characteristics are similar for all the drugs of a common group. They differ by their pharmacokinetic parameter, and this is what is being shown here. You can just go through the slide. Ritonavir is having the oral bioavailability of 75% and 80% of fosamaperidone. Otherwise, it is lesser for these drugs. Distribution is it's more than 90% in these cases where it is less than 90% in this, and then penetration towards cerebrospinal fluid, and then protein binding is this. Then they are metabolized by the CYP3A for all year. Then excretion is mainly through urine and feces, and T-half is the maximum for this saquinavir and this fosamaperidone. Next is entry and fusion inhibitor. Entry or fusion inhibitor. So if you remember in the first slide, the HIV life cycle slide, then you must be remembering that the entry or fusion of the mature variant occurs by combining with the GP41 protein of virus, and that causes the entry inside the cell. So that is inhibited by this group of drug, and the example is enfuviritide. This binds with GP40 subunit of viral envelope glycoprotein, and thus the whole structure changes, and then they cannot bind with the CD4 or chemokine receptor. So this prevents the entry into the cell. Dose which is given is 90 milligram twice daily, given subcutaneously. Pharmacokinetic parameter oral bioavailability is poor, so given subcutaneously. Distribution is plasma protein binding is 90%, and plasma half-life is 3 to 4 hours only. What are the therapeutic use? They are used along with other antiretroviral drugs for the treatment of advanced HIV-1 infection, especially for those which are not managed despite of giving other antiretroviral group of drug. Adverse effects, these are the local reaction at injection site may appear, skin rash, eosinophilia, pneumonia like manifestations may come. This I was talking about, this is like GP41 and 120 proteins. So that is occupied by this group of drugs, so that this cannot bind with the CD4 or chemokine receptor, and thus entry of virus is halted. The chemokine next group is the chemokine receptor or CCR5 receptor antagonist. The example is maraviroc, and this group of drug binds to CCR5 co-receptor, which is present on the CD4 cell membrane and prevents the entry of virus into the host cell. So only difference is this is CCR5 receptor antagonist, and this will bind to the CCR5 receptor so that the viruses cannot bind with the CCR5 receptor and entry is halted. This prevent the interaction of viral GP120 with CCR5. So in this case, there is the use of GP41, and here there is the use of GP120. So maravirus. Adverse effects, like the main adverse effect is hepatotoxicity. Other adverse effect may appear like cough, rash, fever, muscle joint pain, and GI distress. Dose is when given with enzyme inducer, then 600 milligram twice daily can be given. When given with enzyme inhibitor, 150 milligram twice daily can be given. So enzyme inhibitor, that means enzyme will be inhibited. So not lesser metabolism of drug will happen. So in decreased concentration of the drug also can be given, whereas same is not possible when we are giving with enzyme inducer. When given with other co-medication, antiretroviral drugs, 300 milligram BD orally can be given. Next group is integrase inhibitor or integrase strand transfer inhibitor. Integrase strand transfer inhibitor. The examples are raltegravir, alveltegravir, dolutegravir. This is a new class of agent that act by inhibiting the viral enzyme integrase. Again, you have to go back and remember the life cycle of virus. In that, we saw that after that there is replication of RNA to the double-stranded DNA. There is integration of this into the host chromosome. That is halted by this group of drug. So they are used along with the antiretroviral drug in the treatment experienced adult patient demonstrating resistance to the therapy. So generally given in the condition where we see the resistance toward any other combination or treatment regimen. And they are not metabolized by cytochrome P450. So this is what I was talking about. There is integration of the viral RNA or the double-stranded DNA into the chromosomal DNA. So that is halted. Raltegravir, they bind with this so that there is no integration of the viral to the host cell chromosomes. Antacids and iron binds to integrase. Remember, this binds to the integrase. Hence, their dose should be separated by 2 hours. This also binds with the integrase. So, if you give the drug, then that drug won't be able to bind with the integrase, and then effect won't be there. So, the integrase after 2 hours, when the antacid and the iron is replaced, then we can give this drug so that it can actively bind with the place. Dose of raltegravir is 400 milligram twice daily, whereas alveltegravir is 85 or 150 milligram once daily. Dolutegravir is 10 to 40 milligram twice daily. What are the adverse effects? Nausea may be there, diarrhea, fever, headache, and myopathy may be there. Now coming to the principles of HIV chemotherapy, in this we will be seeing the HIV treatment regimen also. Now the principles used in formulating highly active antiretroviral treatment or therapy. So this is the HART regimen, highly active antiretroviral therapy. So it's a regimen where there is inclusion of 3 drugs belonging to different class of antiretroviral drugs. It can be 2 drugs of the same group, or it can be 1 drug of one group and then 2 drugs of another group, or 1 drug of another group and 1 drug of another group, and then all drug of 3 different. Usually the regimen contains 1 NNRTI, that is non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitor, and 2 nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitor. So 2 plus 1 is 3 drug regimen. Now 1 NRTI among 2 NRTI, 1 NRTI should be lamivudine. So you should remember this. The another NRTI can be among zidovudine and stavudine. So one is limivudine, another can be either this or this type. From NNRTI group, efavirenz and nevirapine, one drug can be chosen. So this is 3 drug regimen. You must remember this regimen because this is like a very important drug for the MBBS examination. Now this is 3 drug regimen where there is 1 NNRTI and 2 NRTI. 1 NNRTI would be from efavirenz and nevirapine. Whereas from among 2 NRTI, there should be 1 limivudine and another should be either zidovudine or stavudine. Now, efavirenz should be included in the regimen for patients with hepatic dysfunction or those receiving rifampicin as co-medication. Now, if the person is receiving rifampicin for some cause or and the person has hepatic dysfunction, that means the person should be given efavirenz also along with the 3 drug regimen. Okay, 3 drug regimen, because there will be induction of the enzyme and there would be more clearance of the drug. So efavirenz as another additional drug should be combined. Efavirenz should not be included in regimen for pregnant women or those likely to get pregnant. So this drug should not be combined of the person who is willing to be pregnant or is already pregnant person. 3 NRTI drug regimen can be employed when NNRTI cannot be used. When NNRTI cannot be used, we saw, right? NRTI and NNRTI. When NNRTI cannot be used, in that case, all 3 drugs can be from the NRTI regimen. For treatment of NAIF patient, a protease inhibitor should not be included as it produces more adverse effects, including metabolic syndrome. The PI containing regimen should be reserved for those patients who have failed previous regimen. So the failed regimen or the person who did not respond to the earlier treatment, in those cases, the protease inhibitor can be combined. Otherwise, if the person is being treated for the first time, in those cases, PI should not be given because of the side effect profile. Ritonavir, as we told that it's a CYP4 enzyme inhibitor. So low dose can be included as a booster in heart regimen as compared to the inclusion of other PI. So the preference should be given to ritonavir, not to PI. Ritonavir can increase the activity by inhibiting this enzyme. So in that case, PI related adverse effect can be avoided. So ritonavir is the first preference, not the addition of the protein. Covisistat, it's a non-antiretroviral pharmacokinetic booster which is now included in the heart regimen. So earlier ritonavir was always there, but now covisistat it is a potent inhibitor of the enzyme, as well as it has no antiretroviral activity and it has no induction of the enzyme. So this is now preferred and this has found its place in the heart regimen. If toxicity to a drug in the regimen develop, either the entire regimen should be stopped or the offending drug should be replaced. So if you are given 3 drug regimen and the person starts getting the toxicity and unavoidable toxicity and with which you have to stop the drug, in that case either stop the whole regimen or stop only the offending drug or the culprit drug if you are very sure of it. Then treatment is a lifelong and drug holidays should not be permitted. So every day the drug has to be taken. Now coming to the post-exposure prophylaxis of HIV infection. What drug, which regimen has to be followed if there is already an exposure? Basically, there is basic 2 drug regimen for low risk person containing zidovudine 300 mg and lamivudine 150 mg. Both drugs should be taken twice daily for 4 weeks. Extensive 3 drug regimen is also present. These are for the high risk person if the exposure is already there. So zidovudine plus lamivudine at the dose of 300 milligram and 150 milligram respectively, twice daily can be given. Indinavir 800 milligram can be given thrice a day, and all are given for 4 weeks. Now coming to the treatment in case of perinatal HIV prophylaxis. Okay, so in that case, zidovudine, lamivudine, and nevirapine can be given. Can be divided to low risk person. In case of low risk person, when the source is HIV positive, when you know the source and the source is HIV positive, but the asymptomatic with low viral load and high CD4 cell count, in that case, this drug can be given. Exposure, if the exposure is through mucous membrane or superficial scratch or through thin or solid needle, in that case, can be given. Also, to a high risk person, when the source is symptomatic, it's AIDS patient with high viral load and less CD4 cell count. If the exposure is through major splash or large area contact of longer duration with mucous membrane, or the skin is abraded with a large hollow needle or deep puncture, in that case also the drug should be given, can be given, that combination. There is a transmission of HIV infection from mother to child, and that can occur either through placenta or during delivery time or during breastfeeding. So the highest risk of transmission is during the birth process. So this 3-drug regimen can be continued through delivery and during postnatal period to prevent the vertical transmission to the neonate. So this was all about the antiretroviral drug. I am repeating many a times that antiretroviral drugs, and especially when the corona situation is there, antiretroviral drug or the antiviral drugs is the special chapter to look upon. We may expect any sort of question from this very chapter. Antiretroviral drug regimen, for sure, you need to look upon very sincerely. So thank you so much.